I mean, they can still see it there. See
Yeah.
that?
No,
I went with the full screen, though.
Yeah.
You think we're good, or you want to fuck with it?
Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're live.
Hey. I think we're live. Here we go. Let's see. Welcome. The Ron and John Show. And we are here at
𝘬𝙗 Brewing Company.
And we are here in DuPont, Washington, and just having a blast, having some brews, right?
Absolutely.
Which one did you get, brother?
I got the lightest one they had, man. I'm kind of a sissy when it comes to beer, brother.
Well, this one's called the Full Bird. It was like 2 little birds.
The good thing about this, you can drink 143 of these and get up and run 5 miles in the morning. So, yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, folks, welcome to the Ron and John Show, brought to you by Veterans Lending Group. We're known coast to coast like butter and toast. We can make ISIS surrender or die and even meet the nerdiest guy look kind of fly. We can sing like we've been drinking all night long. We can drink like we've been singing all night long. So if you're ever in trouble, don't you delay. Tune into the Ron and John Show, because me and this Ranger, we lead the way.
All the way, baby. Woo! Welcome back to another fabulous week of the Ron and John Show. And here we are. We got a fabulous setup. We're here at our first live. Actually, this is our first time being together live on the set.
Yeah.
It's other that been on our house, hanging out and stuff like that. Man, it's good to see you, brother. Good to have some human interaction here. Yeah.
And then being here at 𝘬𝙗 Brewing Company, where we got all these heavy pipe hitters out here. How's everybody doing today, gents?
Let's get some noise out here.
Yeah.
There we go.
Right. Hey, and we want to bring in Jared. Come on over, man.
Oh, we got to bring him over. Yeah,
we got to bring in the owner of 𝘬𝙗 Brewing Company here. This guy, I've known him for about 15 years. He was one of my guys in Iraq. Come on in, brother.
Come on in, brother. There we go.
Yeah, and this guy was one of the best human intelligence guys I ever met. And now here he is, veteran-owned business, 𝘬𝙗 Brewing Company. How's it going, brother?
It's going great. Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks for having us, man. We really appreciate you allowing us to come in here, imbibe on some of your great homemade beer here, but also to broadcast live, man.
Absolutely. I'm stoked to have you guys all here.
Yeah,
right, brother.
We appreciate it, man.
All right, thanks, man. All right, we'll bring you back later on, man. So, been a pretty good week the past week, brother.
I agree.
We had a great show last week with Dr. Hartman.
Oh, man.
Dr. Hartman
was a blast.
Is just a phenomenal guy. Our community salutes. Don't forget, America salutes the show. It's on the 4th of July. It's going to be live streamed on Facebook and also Instagram and Twitter, and it's going to be great as 150,000 graduating high school seniors are joining the military, keeping the generation going, brother.
That is fantastic, and to know that they have the support. I mean, we talked about this before.
Yeah.
Not to sound cliche about it, is shit. I wish I had that. I wish that the soldiers and all service members that I saw going into the military from high school had this backing and had the support of really the entire community and showing that, hey, we appreciate you. And I really think that that going into it with that strong vibe, and now where we're at in talking about transition, I just think we're making, it's a process for great service members, great veterans, and contributions to the community. So I love
and
it.
plus, we are keeping our nation and our national security strong by these young Americans standing up, swearing an oath that they will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
I have
awesome stuff.
I have one thing to add to that is that I'll never forget the time the first time that you and I were together doing the Ron and John thing, right? And we walked into the refueling area, and remember you asked up in Fairchild, and I remember you asked the question of, how old is someone that's doing this stuff, that's refueling and everything? And they say 18, 19, 20 years old. And they get done and they're off doing missions. Boom, they're off doing those things because we entrust and we build leaders. And that's something that no one in the world does. That would be a 20-year career person in there. And that you have somebody that's coming right out of their AIT tech school or A school and getting out there and getting after it to the enemy. And just hats off to you. Congratulations to you all. And I'm gonna tune in. I look forward to seeing it and supporting myself.
Yeah. So, Ranger buddy, we are going after again these collaborative shows that we've been doing.
Absolutely.
We've had D Hicks on with the hashtag professional SDL NCOPD Live.
That's right.
We have had the Hurricane.
We have the Hurricane.
And I love saying it, right? Freestyle every day for everybody. Okay. And now we got another guy coming on today that is taking to social media, but more importantly to podcasts or webcasts, to continue to deliver a message, to continue to connect with the troops. And with your permission, I'd love to introduce this guy.
Please, who do we got this week?
So the guy we got this week, let me run it down. First of all, he's a native of El Paso, Texas. And why is that good? Because that's where my wife is from, and also my oldest son, who's in the audience tonight.
Hey,
that's where he was born at.
Yeah.
Okay. He entered the United States Army on the 9th of August, 1989. He's a young feller because I was already a staff sergeant then, and everything. And, he joined the military. He is a career military policeman. His duty positions include everything from gunner all the way to the Regimental Command Sergeant Major of the U.S. Army Police School. He is currently serving as the Maneuver Support Center of Excellence Command Sergeant Major at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. He is a graduate of Class 59 of the United States Army Sergeant Majors Academy. Another young man since I was Class 51. But he was a Commandant's Award winner, so he's a pretty smart guy, too.
Okay.
He's got numerous awards and decorations, but I got to really point out one specifically. When you talk about being a joint warfighter, this guy owns a Coast Guard Meritorious Unit Citation.
Wait.
Webster, you got a Coast Guard Meritorious Unit Citation? You need to get back in the palm groves and get after the enemy, man. All right.
I guess that's a story for later.
Yeah. He is married to his wife, Carolyn, and they have one child, Sydney, who currently is a student at the University of Missouri. So, ladies and gentlemen, give it up to our special guest. He is the host of the Breck. Let me see if I get this right. The Breck Time broadcast.
The Breck Time BTB.
He is Command Sergeant Major James W. Breckenridge. Breck, come on out.
In the house.
All right. Thank you very much. Wow. I don't think I've ever been introduced that well before. So, SEAC, thank you so much. Wow. I felt like a rock star for about 2 seconds.
Hey, you know how it is. You feel like a rock star, but then you start looking at those dates, like when you enter the military and everything, and all of a sudden you realize, man, I am one old MFer, man.
You guys are classic rock. What's the big deal, right? It's a big deal.
Good. Classic rock is great.
Hey, welcome, brother. How you doing there, Sergeant Major?
Thank you so much. I really appreciate for that great intro. And it's kind of, well, it's very humbling to hear you talk about all the things that I've done, and the Army has been a blessing to me for the past 31 years, and it's a huge honor for me to be here today with you all to share our story. And so, thank you so much for having me on, gents.
And before we go any farther, I know it's already been made public and everything, but your time is really short there at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. You were just recently nominated and selected for a very critical position in Washington, D.C. Can you let our viewers know where you're off to next?
Well, thanks for that. I appreciate it, and appreciate the congratulatory remarks. And yes, Team Breckenridge is extremely excited to have an opportunity to continue to serve our soldiers at the nominative level for a third time. And we're just extremely blessed. And we are going to be headed to Quantico, Virginia, where I will serve along with my wife, because I couldn't do it without her, as the Criminal Investigation Division and the Army Corrections Command Sergeant Major. Wow. So
congratulations, brother. Right. Well deserved, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a huge honor as I get to take my sphere of influence that I've had either locally. Now I get to take it globally. So I'm very excited for this opportunity, and I cannot thank all of my mentors, the SMA Grinston, Daly, Gooden, Dosty, many other folks who have mentored me, including you, Sergeant Major, have mentored me to get me to this point. I'm just excited to continue to give back to our Army that has given back so much to me these past 31 years.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Hey, so every time we have a senior leader on here, all of us, Ron and I were both NCOs before, Yep. So we want to hear about the pulse of the force, man. Breck, how are the troops doing? How is the troops at the MSCOE doing? How are the troops doing that you're out visiting? We got a lot going on in the country with COVID-19, with, some unrest in the country. How are the troops doing overall from your foxhole, brother?
No, that's a great question. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk about that, because one of the things that I talked to my boss about, General Bonner, is the passion that I have for my NCO Corps and these soldiers. Now, I love my officer corps, and I give them the mentorship that they do need. But really, my focus is on the development of our sergeants and our staff sergeants, right? Because I believe that that's the most critical point. And I will tell you, from here on Fort Leonard Wood, our sergeants, drill sergeants, and staff sergeant drill sergeants and instructors as well, they're kicking ass. They're doing great. Now, is everything picture perfect? No. They're stressed. They're tired. They've been working hard. Life before COVID was great. Life before COVID was easy.
Yeah.
Life after COVID has not been easy. And I can only describe it in one way. And I know it's very hard for me to use words to express it. But recently we had the honor and privilege to have the Secretary of Defense and the SEAC, the current one, come down and visit Fort Leonard Wood. And we showed them 2 PowerPoint presentations. One, life before COVID well, it wasn't life before COVID. It was, how do we produce a soldier before COVID, and how do we produce a soldier after COVID? And so we really narrowed it down to, before COVID, it was 2 picture blocks with 4 pictures in each block. Very simple. We brought them in, we trained them, and we sent them out. Very simple. And then the after COVID was 6 blocks, 4 pictures each of screening, testing, quarantine, self-monitoring. I mean, you name it. It takes a lot now to produce soldiers for the force in COVID. But I will tell you this, with our commanding general, General Funk at TRADOC, along with our past commander here at MISCO and all the COE commanders, they have done an exceptional job to mitigate risk, to get our folks back into the training pipeline, to take our American sons and daughters back into the fight, to get them back to training. And it doesn't come easy, but we're doing it. And so, yes, the drill sergeants are tired, the cadre's tired, leaders are tired, but we continue to get after it, because we know that the mission of the United States Army leans on our shoulders. Because without USAREC getting us those kids,
right,
and training them, the operational force is not going to have the soldiers they need to do their mission. And we take that very personal here in TRADOC. And we're very proud of all the things that we have accomplished. So to answer your question, SEAC, we're tired, but we are still getting after it every day.
I love to hear that, because, it's one of the concerns that I had. Last week we were talking, and, I'm actually an old USAREC head after my life in regiment. But, recruiting during a time of war, in an unpopular war, I should say, at the time, and it was that's what it was. But we had our restrictions, we had what we had to do. So I can only imagine what's going on the USAREC side. But I understand how that would happen. Just herd them in, separating, everything like that. But it's a training cycle. How do you push through that? And because there's this big stop movement, I think a lot of people, including myself, was like, wow, I guess we're just pausing on everything. But to hear what you're saying, and I love it. And I wish all the enemies of this country could hear exactly what's going on right now, because we're not stopping. We're still pushing forward. We're figuring it out. There's already things in place that are going to keep us strong as a military, as the best military in the world has ever seen. But on top of that, the sustainability and feeding and supporting new soldiers, it's incredible. And to hear that you've mitigated that risk, still pushing forward. I love to hear that. That's phenomenal, and I hope that gives comfort to all our audience and whoever's hearing this as well. And I hope it puts fear and strikes fear in our enemy.
Yeah, absolutely. And real quick, if you don't mind, I'd like to just add to that. So that 2-week pause at the Army, or to stop sending trainees to us, we really needed that. It was a great decision by our Army leaders, and we really had to, because we needed time to get set. And that set was to get ready to take on trainees from across the United States, well, heck, across the world, and bring them in and be able to test them, self-monitor them, test them again, and then get them into training. And during that time, continue to train, because we haven't stopped training. There's a very few things very few things that we have not done because of COVID, but everything else we are continuing to standard. Here's the only difference. The only difference is we're doing it a little bit spread out and a little bit lower of an echelon. So example, I'm going to give you, and SEAC, you know this, during training, we go through this night infiltration course called Nick at Night. We used to run it through as a company. We'd line them up, send them through as a company. But because of COVID, we had to break it down, and now we do it by platoon. And we found that to be more efficient than it was as a company. So that's one of the things that we're going to sustain. And thanks, COVID, for allowing us, because you know why? The drill sergeants are able to focus more on just that platoon and get the training. So they're actually receiving better training, in my opinion. They're receiving better training doing things at smaller level versus a larger level. So the enemy should be scared because we are not stopping what we're doing.
Yeah.
I love
so,
that.
Hey, welcome everybody. You know, you're watching the Ron and John Show, brought to you by Veterans Lending Group. And our guest is Command Sergeant Major James Breckenridge, the current Maneuver Support Center of Excellence Command Sergeant Major, the host and founder and creator of Breck Time Broadcast. And he's about to take his show to Washington, D.C. Now, I need a special request from you, brother.
Roger that. Writing it down. Let me get a piece of paper.
Look good. Hey, you got to make Ron and I look good, okay? Because our boss is here watching us right now, okay? Mike Villano is here.
Sure is. The pressure is turned up.
You know, one of the national directors of Veterans Lending Group, one of the heavy pipe hitters, along with his wife, Brooke. So you got to make us look good, brother, all right? So that the boss walks away saying, man, them two jugheads there are doing pretty good, man. All right, deal?
Deal. Let me just tell Mike now and his beautiful wife, Brooke, hey, the Ron and John Show is awesome, off the hook, and we're going to take it nationally. When I get to D.C., we're going to elevate the level.
Yeah.
Hey, so I'm going to see what kind of, hey, NSDQ, we got some 160th Special Operations guys out here. Who else? Is that both you guys? What about you, brother? Okay. 170th. You're an old mech guy, right? Got big old strappy boots on and stuff. Is that? All right. John Webster, one of my infantry guys, one of my heavy pipe hitters in Iraq, 07, 08.
Yeah.
You know, and then, of course, Jared, we all served together today. But we're here at 𝘬𝗏 Brewing Company today. And so our first live show together. And Breck, the other thing I wanted to ask you, so you mentioned some of the challenges with the 2-week break and everything. So from a readiness perspective, how are we looking from your lens in terms of being able to provide the requisite warfighting capability our nation needs to defend our homeland? What do you think?
I'm going to tell you, Sergeant Major, we are training at 100%. 100%. We are training. Well, we might not be 100%. We might be 98, 99%, but we are filling to the capacity. And I'm glad you brought that up, because with yesterday, today, and tomorrow being the Army National Hiring Day, hashtag Army Hiring National Hiring Day, you know,
right.
The recruiters out there getting after it to get the trainee, the citizen soldiers to us so we can train them. But we are at 100% capacity, and we have a lot of mitigations in place to make sure that our soldiers are being taken care of. And let me just tell you this, to any family member whose son or daughter is in training, or any family member whose son or daughter is getting ready to sign the dotted line or to join our team, let me tell you this. You can be 100% confident that the leaders of TRADOC are going to make sure that their son and daughter is taken care of. From the day they get on the bus, we treat them like our own son and daughters. And that's what I preach here on Fort Leonard Wood. And to tell everybody, you treat every trainee as it is your son or your daughter. And that's our attitude here on Fort Leonard Wood. And I will tell you, we do a great job. We're not perfect by no means. I got that. But at the end of the day, we care. We care about each person that comes through this gate at Fort Leonard Wood and to train. And we're very proud of that.
Well, you know, I got to ask, just to kind of to switch it up and get to know you a little bit more.
Sure.
You know, when you came into the United States Army, what what motivated you to do that? I mean, in USAREC, we'll just take a kind of a piece off of that, right? We talk about the four pillars of where people enlist, right? As you know, right? It's college, adventure, bonus money, and patriotism. You know, for me, when I say it, I say, man, I went in because of you know, I needed to get out of my neighborhood, and I wanted, you know, a plan and do the best and all that stuff. And then later my patriotism kind of grew when I started to understand. For you, what made you go into the service? And next is, what made you stay for so long and to be where you're at?
Ron, thank you so much for asking that question. And the reason why I say that is because that is one of my favorite questions to answer, because I'm going to speak from the heart here. And first off, I will tell you that obviously you all know that I come from El Paso, Texas. My father was in the military, and my lineage of military service is traced all the way back to the Civil War. Matter of fact, my 5 generations ago grandfather was Vice President of the United States. He served under James Buchanan and actually ran against Abraham Lincoln. He actually ran against Abraham Lincoln for president. Obviously, he did not win, but yeah. So I mean, my lineage goes all the way back. So 𝘬𝙧, I was born at William Beaumont Army Hospital, just like your son Daniel. But there's a difference between him and I. He was born in the new William Beaumont, which is on the hill. I was born at old William Beaumont, which is right below it, and it doesn't even exist anymore. It's gone. And I know there's a newer William Beaumont being built on Biggs, but I was actually born at old William Beaumont Army Medical Center. My father was an air defender, and we served there at Fort Bliss for a few years, and of course traveled around, but ended up settling down there. So I always knew that I wanted to serve into the military, but really, honestly, my passion, and this is kind of funny because, you know, I'm in law enforcement now. My passion was to be on the El Paso Police Department, to eventually make it to become the premier law enforcement professional in the world, which is a Texas State Trooper. So
that's awesome.
Hey, so we got a couple officers just came in here. Are you guys second lieutenants? Barely?
Barely.
Webster, make sure their boots are on the right feet, okay? Hey, gentlemen, thanks for coming down and supporting this veteran-owned company here. Really appreciate it. This is the Ron and John Show, and we've got a special guest from the Maneuver Support Center of Excellence here, Command Sergeant Major James Breckenridge. What branch are you guys? Oh, artillery. Cool. These guys are anal as shit already, and they just joined, you know. Anyway, thanks, gentlemen, for being here. Hey, so Breck, I got to ask you, man, you know, one of the things that Ron and I are so grateful for is when Mike and Brooke Villano allowed us to start this medium. Ron and I started this as going on the road, and of course, COVID-19 shut that down. And Mike and Brooke, being the visionaries they are, said, hey, well, let's just do a virtual one.
Yeah.
And we got a great producer with us, Victoria, who's in the backgrounds making everything happen. And we've started these collaborations, you know, with NCOPD Live, with Freestyle Every Day for Everybody. So talk to us about Breck Time Broadcast, what your vision was for it, and what are you looking to get out of this as you continue to push forward? Because it's a highly successful show, brother. So congratulations on that. But what was your vision behind it, and why did you get it started?
Well, thanks, 𝘬𝙧. I appreciate that. And so, yeah, my vision or my passion, well, I've always wanted to do this. I always wanted to have some type of platform to reach out to people. And I used to always say, if I would hold the NCOPD on my installation and I could get maybe 100 NCOs because everybody else is working or off or whatever, get them into an auditorium, I could teach a class and say, well, thanks, you're all trained, send them out the door, and hopefully for the best. But I always knew that there was a bigger world out there and that I could impact thousands. And little did I know I could impact, 20, 30, 40,000 folks in a matter of just days with my virtual podcast. And so my inspiration actually came from Staff Sergeant D. Hicks, NCOPD Live. Yeah.
Hicks,
and I've told him that before. And I watched him from afar. Many times I watched him. I said, man, I want to do that. Obviously, my job is extremely busy. I've been busy for the past, 10 years being a CSM. But I said, you know what? I think I can make time. And so I woke up one day. of course, my confidant of my wife, who I always run everything by, walk in, it's like, sweetheart, I have a plan. And of course she says, oh shit, what are you doing next? Right. And I said, I think I want to do a virtual broadcast and just share information and using my leverage of my position, right? Not me, because I'm not a handsome or looking guy or nothing, but I can leverage my position to help teach, coach, and mentor. And she's like, you should do it. And so I sat up one night over a few beers, and Breck Time broadcast, the design, everything behind me was created that night. And so let me tell you a quick funny story I've never shared with anybody, and I'm sharing with you only. So why Breck Time? Well, when I was a platoon sergeant, there was 4 platoon sergeants. 3 of us were extremely close: Tyrone Hurdle, Reginald Turner, and myself. They called us the 3 horsemen. We ran that company. We were just blowing everybody out of the water. But anyway, the point is, Reginald Turner used to always bust my chops because I had just had a baby, Sydney, my daughter was born, and I went home. I told myself I'm going to try to go home every day at 5:30 every day. And he used to always bust my chops. It's like, oh, it's Breck Time. You're on Breck Time. Go ahead. You're on Breck Time. And so to this day, he still busts me on it a little bit as for fun. But so that's why I came up with Breck Time broadcast, #BTB. And, you know, I'm only in episode number 6. As a matter of fact, just to let everybody know, episode 6 is going to be tonight, and it's YouTube, nice. The Ron and John Show. I'm gonna host you on my show. And so I'm very new to this. Now, I don't do it every week. I can't do it. I just don't have the time. But I do it every other week, and I try to bring on things to help educate folks. So if you don't mind, I'd like to just share a couple of my guests that I've had on. Now, I am on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. But the main point I wanted to bring up is I've had guests on to talk about the Army credentialing program, which is fairly new. I've had people come on about education, money, investing, talking about SBP or insurance. And so it's been great to just educate and share. And my highest, and I'm very proud of it, my highest one was the credentialing one. I was able to bring on the panel of the experts on credentialing and let them talk about it and teach people. I did an NCODP that night that reached over 18,000 people since that day. And no one can have that many people in an auditorium.
Wow. You know, what's interesting, Ron and I, our highest show, we had 2 veteran-owned businesses on.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, Enlisted 9 Fight Club with, you know, Ultimate Fighter season 16 champion Colton Smith.
Yep. And Combat Flip Flops with Griff. Yeah. CEO of Combat Flip Flops.
So I think what I like, and the reason we started and what we're all about, the Ron and John Show, it's about transition and the men and women that are getting out of the military. What are they doing next? You know, so that we continue to give them purpose, direction, motivation, and things like that, which is why we are so proud to be members of Veterans Lending Group, because Veterans Lending Group hires veterans and hires military spouses. And they are such a military and veteran-friendly organization. It's just a treat for you and I to be a part of that because of that, you know? Yeah.
It absolutely is. No, I remember the first time when, you know, meeting John, which... that's a story for the time.
We met in the shit house, man. He was in there. He had a Field and Stream magazine in his hands, you know. So, what do you lieutenants think he was doing in there? You know, wasn't tossing one over the knuckle. I hope.
The next thing I know, I'm washing my hands, and somebody walks into the latrine, and I'm like, "Oh shit!" And I was like, "Well, ain't no stopping us now."
Yeah.
I wiped my hands up. I said, "You must be John Wayne Trox." So I stuck it out there, and he met me with it. I said, "This is trust right here. I'll see you in about 5 minutes."
Hey, but Breck, it was one of those prison handshakes because you're not for sure whether the guy did actually wash his hands. So you're a little clear, you know. But
I got you.
You know, to the imagination, yeah. But,
and I think, you know, what we're trying to get after, the same thing that you're trying to get after. Yeah. We want to get our message out to any and everybody out there so that they understand not only the organization we're about, but what he and I are about. And it's all about assisting veterans. You know, we just did a Yomp Your Yard with Allied Forces Foundation. We went out and did 10 miles, you know, and Allied Forces Foundation supports wounded, ill, and injured. So Ron and I, you know, we had some wounded folks out there. Shoot, we had Pete Quintanilla with us, who's a single leg amputee, and he was kicking our ass.
He was running past us, you know? like the private runner with the rucksack around the formation.
So what let me ask you this, Breck. Where do you want to take? You're going to Washington, D.C. What is your goals now for BTB as you move forward?
Oh, now that's a great question. I really haven't thought about it too much, but I've always had the goal is to allow my platform to be an opportunity to reach every single soldier, regardless of your organization. You don't have to ask permission to come see me or talk to me. And that's the kind of platform I want. I want to be able to share information. And it's not about me. It's about being able to share information with things that are going on. Like one of my next ones that I want to really work on to get going is I want to bring in the SFL TAP team, right? The Transition Assistance Program team, to talk about all those things, because a few years ago when I was a regimental sergeant major down there at the MP school, I had about a year and some change left. So I said, you know what? I'm going to set the example. I'm going to go to the transition classes, just like the Army says I have to meet all my deadlines, because you never know, I might have to transition. And what I learned in there was stuff that I did not know and was not expecting. And so I want to teach, coach, and mentor, and I want to do it virtually. And I want to be able to bring the information that I have and use my position to bring people on that can help me educate young men and women. And so the power of this platform is amazing. And for instance, I'd also like to take a quick plug to also highlight hashtag the field grade leader. So Lieutenant Colonel, recently promoted, Josh Powers, he runs the field grade leader on Facebook and Twitter page and YouTube page as well. And obviously his focus is on the field grade leader. And he does some amazing leadership classes and talking about certain things. And it's really all just to help make people better, I guess is what I could say. So when I get to DC, I'm going to be around a whole bunch of heavy hitters. And I think my audience is going to grow, because when I walk around and talk to people, the second question I ask them is, hey, would you come on my show? And it's all about sharing information and helping all those out there that are watching.
You know, this whole thing is just a real treat for me, because coming from, you know, my years of service were 95 to 2000, break in service, and then 04 to 07. And those days, this shit wasn't possible, obviously. But obviously, the other side of that is everyone was scared to talk to the old man. You know, I mean, shit, nobody wanted to talk to, you know, Jeff Dew, you know, or at those
How
levels.
many times do you guys talk to your brigade commander?
Never.
Zero. Look at this.
Zero.
What brigade are you guys in? I'm going to be on your brigade commander's podcast on the 20th of July, and I'm going to put a healthy coat of scunion on him. He's talking to his lieutenants.
Yeah, exactly. What were your names again? No, but it's great, and I look around and I see folks like yourself, Breck. I see, you know, Staff Sergeant D. Hicks.
Hey, I'm just kidding, guys.
I see the Hurricane, you know, and y'all are putting this information out, but more importantly, you're making yourselves accessible. You at the senior leadership level, where it would be, you know, where we consider, the quote unquote open door policy, when I was coming up, but here you are sharing all this information freely. And not only that is I get to hang out with, you know, the old SEAC, but to that is somewhere along those times, and I have a feeling of what it was, and that was it's war.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's combat. It's realizing that you can't just, you know, put, you know, your thumb and press it in like it was before it. And I say this because we're all here. We're also pre, you know, GWAT soldiers, and we saw a transition. There was something that changed with the Corps, where and I see this now, and I love it, because there's this trust. And everyone that we've had on the show, you know, I just think it speaks volumes, and I hate to keep blowing smoke up John's ass, but it is a testament to leadership and what you all saw and who you all looked up to say, what would this person do in this position?
That's right.
How might be better? What kind of influence is it that they're laying down? And it's I see it, and I want you all to know that how appreciative it is, and you can see that in your numbers. You wouldn't have the views that you have now if it was bullshit. It's not like you post it out and it's like, who wants to hear from the old CSM, right? Or the smash, as we'd say, right? But here it is, and here you are, and I think it's phenomenal. Thank you so much.
You coined a phrase when we had Hurricane on. You called it the ultimate open door policy.
The ultimate open door policy.
You know, any young troop at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, can go on and watch Breck Time broadcast and can ask the senior enlisted person in that entire command any question, and he doesn't have to go through his team leader, his squad leader, his platoon sergeant, his first sergeant, battalion. Now, if he calls you up and complains about those guys, you know, there's probably going to be hell to pay after that, you know, and there might be a little entrenching tool involved, you know, but you know, but the bottom line is, I agree with you. It's about communicating with the troops, communicating with the force, and letting them know that I don't care what rank we are, all of us put our clothes on the same way every day.
That's right.
I don't know that you jump into your dang jeans every day, do you?
Not always.
Not always.
You know,
okay.
I'm an Orthodox guy.
You might be an anomaly, brother. All right, but I just think it's a great way to communicate with the troops, and I applaud you for it, brother.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. And you know, one of the best feelings in the world is when someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, I watched your show, and guess what I'm doing? I'm going to sign up for a credential now because I want to do XXX." Right. And they say they didn't know anything about the credentialing program until they watched my show. That's the best feeling in the world. If I could change, if I could impact one person, then I've made a difference. And so, we've all heard the story about the turtle, right? You know, or the starfish, right? Old man walking on the beach, you know, starfish. Hey, I made a difference to that one starfish. And that's what I want to do. So
we got a question here from the audience that I blew past, and I wanted to bring that up. That was someone asked about.
Oh yeah, so
there we go, Danny, right?
Danny Nab wants to know, what's your favorite call sign?
Well, first off, he should not be allowed on any social media platforms because no, I'm just joking. So he was our brigade S3 out in Germany when I was a brigade sergeant major under Colonel Horton out there in the 18th MP Brigade. We were out in Poland doing Anaconda 16. General Ben Hodges was doing this huge thing. We were bringing in like 20 countries into Poland and doing all these river crossings and exercises. And our call signs ended up becoming, we were Legendary 6 and Legendary 7. And so the running joke is I'm Legendary 7. I don't know why. I'm just a sergeant major. But that's Major Nab. Thanks, sir, for throwing out that. Appreciate that.
That way don't break your arm patting yourself on the back there, Legendary 7.
I did not come up with that call sign.
I am legend. Have you broken it out yet at all? I know you've done it. I know you have done it one or two times. No,
I have not. It's a running inside joke, and I have not done it. So, but that's our joke inside that, you know, Legendary 6, 7.
Hey, Breck, should we give away an entrenching tool here?
I think.
Oh yeah, I think you should.
Let's see,
absolutely.
Where's your battle buddy at, man?
He's in the office.
He didn't go into the bathroom with a Field and Stream, did he? No. All right, we gotta come here.
You know who we gotta bring, Cliff David. We have to.
Hey, Breck. So I'm bringing this guy up right now. Don't be intimidated because. Come over here, dude.
Come over here, man. No, you're good. You're good. Here. Okay. Push that back. Can you?
There's like 15.
Yeah. There you go. All right.
Hey, there's like 15 people in this place right now, and he can kick everybody's ass. All right.
Yeah.
At once.
At once? Okay. You got that, Webster?
With this
mind. He said he can take you down.
Put that crossword puzzle away.
Tell Sergeant Major Breckenridge and our audience who you are and what you do.
I'm Ed Sullivan. I work at Lowe's at the moment. I also am working on a master's in psychology. I was in the Army for 9 years. I was active reserve, then I went back active, been out for about a year and a half now.
Why do you how did you catch on to the Ron and John show? I mean, all of a sudden we see these questions that are coming in consistently from this Sullivan Ed, and
Yes.
it's like, man, this is and it's awesome, man. We really appreciate it. How did you find out about us?
Well, it's a weird thing. So there's always been something that's been kind of interesting to me about people who stay in the Army for a really long time. I kind of wanted to ask him a few questions about that. You know,
Look, brother, you got 30 seconds.
Okay. Yes, and I wanted to, know more about how to adjust to civilian life, how to establish a good connection in the local area and all that. And I wanted to look for some support, and also, of course, with the craziness of the COVID and all that other shit going on right now, I kind of needed some motivation. So I turned to the Ron and John show.
Quick question in 5-second response
Yes.
do you feel that you found that with
Yes.
watching this?
Yes, definitely.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Awesome, man.
And
We'd love to
he
hear
came
that.
out for the hike with us with our wounded,
Sure did.
ill, and injured.
Yeah.
you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he was dressed like he just came from a yard sale, but he still came out, threw on a ruck, and came out and got after it with us,
Sure did.
So, Breck, I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask this guy a question, any question. This is a veteran right here.
Yeah.
He's working at Lowe's, but he's going to school to get his degree and everything. We're going to allow you to ask him a question. We call him Cliffy Clavin because he comes to a place where everybody knows his name, and that's the Ron and John
I still need to check that show out too.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, well, first off, thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for choosing to raise your right hand and serve our country. So thank you for that. My first question is, why did you decide to join the United States Army?
Good question, actually. I was inspired by my stepdad. He was a 20-year guy. He was in from 83 to 03. My mom married him back in 99. We moved out here, and between him and the local area, I was just inspired. I saw it as a way to kind of expand my horizons, among other things. And then, of course, we had 9/11, so that further inspired me among many
Okay.
others.
And I know you stayed about 7 years, you said, but why did you choose to stay those 7 years? What drove you every day to stay those 7 years?
Good question, actually. I would say the camaraderie, Sergeant Major, the camaraderie and deployments. I liked that a lot too. What was another thing that made me stay in for as long as I did? And travel.
Travel.
You can't forget about that.
All right. Well,
So
thank you. Those are my two questions.
All right.
Then Ron and I are going to present you with a Veterans Lending Group entrenching tool, part of the Ron and John show. Ron and I have signed it. So this is a hypothetical question.
All right.
Would you rather spend a week on a desert island with 𝘽𝙧𝙚 or Carol Baskin?
Ooh.
Hey, would you, and this deserted island has tigers on it. Okay.
And
So do you want to,
𝘽𝙧𝙚 is bigger than you.
Yes.
Okay.
do you want to get, enlightenment, or do you want to get fed to the tigers? What do you want?
Ooh. I go with 𝘽𝙧𝙚.
Okay.
I want
All right.
enlightenment.
I appreciate your honesty,
Yeah,
brother.
exactly.
Hey, on behalf of Ron here, the Ron and
Yeah.
John show, thanks for being our #1 fan. And here's your entrenching tool. All
There
right.
you go, man.
All right.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man.
Okay.
a lot.
Thanks, brother.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It's very inspiring to hear that. You know why? Because I think all of us can agree. If anybody served a day in the Army, they'll tell you that being a part of a team, that camaraderie is what keeps people around. So that's a great answer.
I love, you could kind of tell, someone by the questions that they ask and everything, but I love what you said. Instead of asking, why did you get out, and going toward the transition side, you asked, what made you stay in? What made you, do it all over again? Because that means that you had to raise your hand another time, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Or wherever you were at,
And Ron, if you don't mind, I'd like to interject because this is one of the things I'm very passionate about, and I'm sorry to do that, but I don't care if you serve 4 years or 35 years. Service is service, and I thank each and every person for that. And regardless of what made you, because one of the part of the questions I didn't get to finish answering earlier in this was why did I stay in? Well, my plan was to only do 4 years. I was going to get out and be a trooper, like I told you. But what made me stay in was the just like that young man answered, camaraderie, teamwork, the friends that I've built, the things that I got to see. I mean, I was 18 years old and I was in the land of Korea. Who gets to do that at 18 years old? And so I've been blessed with a lot of great things. And that's why I chose to serve. And I've been continuing to do so. And I always tell people, whether you serve 4, 35, it doesn't matter. Service is service. And I thank you for that. And I'm going to help you either transition at 4 or help you transition at 35. All I want from you is your trust that I'm going to be the best leader I can.
You know, I really appreciate you saying that, because, you know, one of the things that we, you know, talk about here in the Ron and John show is not only where's the force at, what are you all thinking, but also the transition side of that.
Right.
And I always pose, you know, that question to everyone on the audience, because, you know, we keep it real in the Ron and John show is, I mean, while clearly you're getting ready to move into this new position to where you have, you know, some extreme influence. You know, who knows where your career goes from there, because again, you're taking it one step at a time, which I absolutely applaud. But talking about transition, are there things that are part of your program or your vision in taking over, you know, this core that includes a transition component? And I asked this from, you know, the CZ Wright the other day is, you know, what are you going to do for your change and your transition? How are you going to implement that change? Because, you know, me, I'm a, you know, E5, you know, I'll just say E5P, right? But the thing is that I've got an
Give
E9.
me a Pepsi.
Right? I already got you a damn beer and I tested over it. But the thing is that we have, right, completely different transition opportunities. And I think the majority of the force is going to be between that literally E4 to E6, you know, spot. Right. And so is part of your I guess your next steps and to motivate the core and sustain and help the core on the outside of what you command, is transition a part of that, and what does that look like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one of my passions. And so first I want to just make a small correction. Ron, you weren't a sergeant. Excuse me, you weren't an E5. You weren't an E5P. You were a sergeant. You were a sergeant promotable. And that's why, and I say that only not to bust you out. I'm not doing that. What I'm saying is that as non-commissioned officers, you were a proud non-commissioned officer. And I've read about you. I've done a lot of research on you, and you were a non-commissioned officer. So thank you for your service. But the next thing I want to talk about is transition. I mean, my number one thing that I work here with is my SFL TAP team. And I'm not going to brag about all the accolades that we've been doing for the past couple of years that I've been here. But the point is I am focused on making sure that everybody has an opportunity to transition. And then when they do transition, they're provided some type of employment. The best thing the Army could have ever done was went to the transition assistance program. Before, we were paying $500-600 million a year in unemployment. We're doing 1.5 million now, or something like that, or 150 million, excuse me, way less. Why? Because we're preparing people to get out of the military properly, giving them the tools and resources required. But it takes leaders to make their soldiers go to TAP, makes their soldiers go to that 5-day mandatory VOW Act and VA stuff and get those things done. And my job is to help educate those folks. And one of my biggest things is making sure, and people always ask me, well, why do you care so much? You're not transitioning. I said, BS. I'm preparing for transition every day. Every day that I'm in this job, I am preparing for my transition one day. Is it going to be next year, 3 years, 5 years from now? I don't know, but I'm going to prepare for transition every day. And it's my job, just like I talked to this young NCO, Sergeant First Class, 11 years in the Army. We're out at the Expert Skill Soldiers Badge Lane for our Best Warrior competition that's going on tomorrow. Quick plug. 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, Fort Leonard Wood Facebook page. We're going to do our award ceremony. Tune in. It's going to be awesome. But I'm getting a chance to talk to this NCO and talking to him about SBP and life insurance and the difference between the two, and that he has to make the decision. That's what I want to do, Ron.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, I hear you, brother. And I tell people all the time, the worst example on how to prepare for transition is right here. So I didn't do anything. I didn't do shit. And all of a sudden, it's September of 2019, and I'm ushering out Joe Dunford, you know, the current chairman, ushering in Mark Esper, the new SecDef, and Mark Milley, my new boss, as the chairman. And all of a sudden, Billy comes into my office and says, hey, pack your shit. We're going overseas. We're doing this and that. And I'm like, holy shit, Chairman, I got like 3 months left in the Army, you know? And then he comes to me and says, hey, you know, Thanksgiving, we're going to spend it in Iraq, in Afghanistan with the troops. The president will be there and everything. And I'm thinking to myself, it's like 10 days before I'm out of the Army, you know? And, but the bottom line is I had a team that took care of me, and I had some wonderful professionals at the Soldier for Life Transition Assistance Program that took care of me. And were it not for my NCO, Sergeant First Class Chantel Dela Cruz Johnson, who took care of me and worked with all the people I needed to, especially CIF, because Breck, you know, after 38 freaking years, I had 14 duffel bags worth of shit to turn in.
Did you have all your shit, or did you have to go to the gate to the damn foxhole down here?
Oh no, one take Jake, brother. One take Jake.
Of course.
They were wanting my mess kit. You remember our mess kit? I got issued my mess kit in 1984. They wanted that. Wow. They wanted my pile cap back.
Wow.
No, not you lieutenants got mess kits or pile caps?
They took your pile cap.
They don't know. They don't know.
All that shit back, brother. But
they don't know.
I absolutely agree with you. You got to plan every day like you are going to transition, because when I went to the SFL TAP course, all of the classmates I had there had like 2 years left in their current assignment. And so don't do like John Wayne Troxel. If you're getting down towards the end, 2 to 3 years out, start thinking about transition and getting after it.
Go ahead. Yeah, because here's the thing with that. And I got something here from Billy Knight, which it's been kind of pressing on me for a while, and I'll tell you who that is right now, Breck. But when I met John, and he shared with me his transition story, and I I shared with him mine, and we kind of bromanced out from there. But the thing is that, you know, I'll never forget, we were sitting at 13 Coins, and we were with Billy this time, and I remember seeing John's face, and he just looked down and he just said, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know this other side. And so what I'm going to read to you from Billy here. Billy says, let's start making sure that commands allow these soldiers to transition versus going to the field 30 days before they ETS or retire. Because, listen, I totally understand that there's a mission to be met and what's going on. But what Billy's getting at is there's opportunities that these soldiers and service members can get into that are 3 months and 6 months out, and on the job training opportunities and apprenticeship programs. And, you know, we spend so much time in the military preparing for whatever. Or let's just say preparing for a deployment, preparing to go somewhere. But yet we're going to spend 30 days or 45 days transitioning for something that's going to be the rest of our life. Right. So I would just, you know, again, I challenge everyone on here is that, you know, impress that upon the leadership to say, listen, one day this is going to be you.
That's right.
One day.
Right.
And how would you want to be treated for that? I know that's cliche as well, but we got to do something to where they're allowed to set themselves up for success for something that the rest of their lives that they've given.
And there's a big difference, and Breck, you know this, there's a big difference between a SEAC going to Afghanistan with the chairman and the president 10 days before leaving, and an E4 going to the field 30 days before they're ETSing. And their future is a lot more uncertain than mine would have been. And so, hey, I think it's time for some rapid fire. All right, we're going to put you on the spot, Breck. All right, so we got some folks coming in. Come on in. All right, join the Ron and John show here.
I know these two.
All right, brother. No Tommy guns underneath that sport jacket, right? Okay. All right. We got an MP on the screen here. Okay, he's keeping an eye on you. Okay. So speaking of MPs, all right, I got to ask him. I asked Hurricane Halliburton the same thing when we had him on here. What is the deal with the law enforcement phone book? What is it? What is this all about, man? You know what is a phone book used for in law enforcement activities?
And why is it in the trunk of every vehicle with a ball and hammer?
I don't know, other than maybe someone doesn't reach the gas pedal, so they need something to sit on. I don't know. I honestly don't know what a phone book I've never had a phone book before. Never.
Hey, brother, so you got to watch the movie James Caan Thief when they rolled him up and they took him into the dang police station and they tried to get him to talk, they took the phone books to his ass, man. Talk. But, you know.
Now I know what you're getting at.
Because it didn't leave marks.
Yeah. Now I know what you're talking about. No, I never did any of that. Now I got some stories to tell you about Korea, but not on air.
I'm going to tell on I probably something I shouldn't be saying because I got a fellow ranger here. So I get a lot of my news from memes, okay? Like probably most of us do. We get news from memes and we go check and fact check that stuff.
Sure.
So in the special operations community, there was this meme that came out, about 2 months ago, and it was about MPs. And it was about 3rd Ranger Battalion. And you're laughing, but apparently a MP was chasing a ranger into the barracks, fired off a taser, nails the ranger removes said MP's weapons, and then the squad ends up taking control of the situation. And then since the rumor is that no MP vehicles are allowed within the ranger compounds across the country.
Kind of outfit you running over there, brother? Damn, man.
And now that's happened in 275 a few years ago, and recently. That's just the rumor. That's just what I've heard. Apparently, there's some sort of conflict with Rangers and MPs. Can you elaborate on that, please?
There's no conflict with MPs with anybody. We are of the troops and for the troops. We are 100 law, all about the law, making sure we good order and discipline across the force. MP made a mistake. Number one, you never go into a room or anywhere by yourself. I learned that from Corporal Clayton back in 1990 in Korea, as we were running to a fight in a club. And I was ready to go. And he says, hold on, just wait till the reinforcements come. We had about 5 or 6 MPs. Then we went into the club and took care of things. So that was mistake number one. And number two, there's no off limits to the military police. We go everywhere.
Okay, so I get the last question, and then we're going to have to, hey, folks, you're watching the Ron and John Show live at 𝘬𝗏 Brewery, brought to you by Veterans Lending Group. We're about done on the Ron and John Show, but stay tuned. We got another hour because we're switching over and we're going to be on break time broadcast live here.
Yes, please. I
have a question here.
Yes.
What is the favorite cadence of every person that's not an MP?
A C-130 rolling down the strip.
What do you hear? Let's hear it. What is it?
And who's rolling down that strip?
You can't spell wimp without
MP.
Sorry, brother. Sorry for the, I'll keep it up, man.
It's all good. We've heard it all before, right? So I'll go grab some donuts for you.
That was a second lieutenant back here, artilleryman, that said you can't spell wimp without an MP.
My guy.
So.
It's okay. Just get his name so I know who to send to for his COE sergeant major so we can make sure he's squared away when he gets there.
Before we go,
yeah.
We got one more E-tool.
Absolutely, we can get one more E-tool.
And
we'll give one. Another one.
Is this one of your spouses right here? Can we have her come up? We'd like to. Come on up.
Yeah.
We want to give you a gift. Come on up. So everybody knows on the Ron and John Show here, we are a family-oriented show. Hey, the strength of our nation is our military service members. The strength of our military service members are spouses. So, dear, come on up, please.
Yeah, come on through. Come on back through.
You're a VLG employee?
Yeah, I work at the
Oh, shit. Well, even better.
Hey, so you
even
get your
better.
entrenching.
No, you bring it out here because this is a testament to what we do at VLG. Military spouses. Right?
Cool. Yeah.
That's what we do, right?
Yeah.
We had no idea, but just because by sheer support of you here. So tell us a little bit about yourself and why'd you even join VLG? Well, we got 2 minutes.
Well, I have been in the mortgage industry since I started working out of college, and it was just something that I enjoyed. I found this company. Thought it would be cool to be in the military world since I'm a spouse. So
Yeah.
went for it and love it. It's a great environment.
Awesome.
Super fun
How
place
long
to
you been
work.
with us so far?
Since February. So.
Since February. Do you feel like a family? Do you feel like an
Oh, yeah,
outsider?
for
Do you
sure.
feel like just another company? Or
No, definitely a family.
yeah, that's awesome.
And that's
Thank
your
you so
husband out
much.
there?
Yep,
Yeah.
sure is.
Can you give us any dirt on him that we can use against him?
I mean, he's brand new, so I mean,
We've
it's not much.
got a worldwide audience here, so
Yeah, I know.
if you want to say
It's
anything
only a
about
few
your
thousand
husband,
people on
feel
here
free
right
to
now.
do it.
Oh, he's beaming. Look at him. He just lit all up.
Hey, thank you so much
Appreciate you.
of course.
for
There
what you
go.
do, for being a part of our team. but also being a military spouse. God bless you.
And welcome
All
to the
right.
family.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
you. Thank you so much. All right.
So, hey,
Well, with that, we are going to be wrapping this thing up, and we're going to catch you here in a few minutes on Breck Live. Brought to you, Ronald John Show brought to you by Veterans Lending Group. If you need a refi, new purchase, or anything else, you know where to find us, so check us out. And we're going to catch you here in about 1 minute with you, Breck.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And thanks for having me on the show.
yeah, thanks for Sergeant Major Jim Breckenridge, the U.S. Maneuver Support Center of Excellence Command Sergeant Major, about to move on. And stay with us. We're about to go live on Breck Time Broadcast.
Here we go.
Boom.